any questions if you want. Do you want to go ahead?
Kính thưa quý vị, khoa học thần kinh là một bộ môn cực kỳ khó khăn và trừu tượng ngay từ cái tên ban đầu của nó. Và sau đây xin giới thiệu lên sân khấu phần trình bày của nhóm 1 bộ môn khoa học thần kinh với đề tài làm thế nào để sắp xếp hệ thần kinh giao cảm cho bộ não của chúng ta. Và đầu tiên xin mời anh cố vấn trưởng của bộ môn anh Nhật lên trình bày tóm tắt sơ bộ bằng tiếng Việt về phần trình bày của các bạn.
Xin chào tất cả mọi người. Thì như chúng ta biết thì bộ não của chúng ta rất là kỳ diệu. Có những bệnh nhân mà mất một bộ phận của não, nhưng những bộ phận khác có khả năng là đảm nhiệm cái chức năng cũ của bộ phận đó. Thì project của các em trong team thứ nhất của Neuroscience là chúng ta nghiên cứu cái cơ chế của cái khả năng đó. Các em đã propose một cái thí nghiệm trên một loài vật là loài ferret, là loài chồn. Thì trước đây có một cái thí nghiệm là khi mà chúng ta cắt bỏ cái bộ phận thính giác của con ferret thì cái dây thần kinh thị giác của nó sẽ chia đôi ra. Thì thay vì nối vào bộ phận thị giác thì nó vừa nối về thị giác vừa nối về thính giác. Thì project của các em là nghiên cứu cái cơ chế của cái quá trình này. Thì hôm nay xin mời các em là chúng ta bắt đầu present.
Hi everyone. So before our presentation, on behalf of our team, we would like to thank you, Mr. Young and Mr. Kang, for helping us for the last 2 weeks. So not wasting our time, let's get right into our presentation.
My name is Ding, this is Bei, and this is Dung. We're going to present to you today. First, this is the outline of our presentation. We're going to present to you the background information, including the phenomenon of deaf people and some basic knowledge about the auditory and visual pathways. And then we're going to state our research questions and propose our experiments and what we're going to do in the future. Before we start, can anyone guess what these photos are about? Yeah, people with balloons. Okay, this is actually a special concert for deaf people in Netherlands. But do you wonder why do the deaf people even go to concerts? Like, how can they listen to music? And why are they holding balloons? So, any guesses?
There's the connection between the way they touch the balloon with the music.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, correct.
I guess so.
Yeah. So, the deaf people cannot listen to music with their ears, but they can feel the vibrations of sounds that go through balloons. Not every deaf person does have that ability, but the majority of them do. Next slide. Look at this picture. This is the picture of the brains of normal people over here and the deaf people over there. And when you visually stimulate them, for the normal people, only the visual areas in their brain are activated. But for the deaf people, both the auditory and visual areas get activated. And the same thing happens when you stimulate their sense of touch. Both the auditory and tactile areas get activated. So the question here is, why do the auditory area get activated when they're deaf? Is there an unusual connection between the auditory and other areas of the brain that allow them to do so? To answer those questions, please listen to V.
Okay, hi. It turned out that there is an experiment on newborn ferrets' brain that proved that there are indeed an unusual connections. Okay, let's look at the normal visual and auditory pathway. So, stimulus derived from the retina of the eye go to the lateral genicular nucleus, which is known as the LGN, go to the visual cortex, Same thing with the auditory pathway. Stimulus arrive from the ear, go to the MGN, and go to the auditory cortex. However, when the ferret is deaf, you can see the pathway between the ear and the MGN has been destroyed. Now, the connection from the eye, the pathway from the eye go to here, and they start double wiring. So go to both the LGN and the MGN, and then the auditory cortex end up organized the same way as the visual pathway, visual cortex. So now they become visual cells, and then that explains why deaf people can see better, or blind people can maybe hear better. So, although knowing that happened, we wonder what is the mechanism of this double wiring phenomenon. And we propose an experiment.
So for the experiment, we propose an experiment. So our hypothesis, what we think might happen, is the brain double wires because a chemical, an unknown chemical substance told them to double wire, or the brain double wires because of a special electrical signal that was sent between neurons. But in our experiments, we are mainly focused on the chemical substance that caused the double wire. So for materials and method, we would use 2 newborn ferret, neurotoxin, chromatography, GCAM, and green lens. As you can see, 2 newborn ferrets. You might wonder why 2 newborn ferrets. 2 newborn ferrets. Ferrets, when ferrets is born, their brain is not mature enough, and their brain is not wired to part, so it is fitted for our experiments. And for chromatography is a method of filtration. So you have like a mixture of chemical, and you can filtrate which chemical is in that mixture.
Okay, GCAM. GCAM is a chemical substance that emits green light, as you can see it over there, when calcium comes in contact. So when neurons fire, calcium naturally slow in the axons, so it's light up the GCAM. So that's how we can observe how neuron interacts and how neurons fire. We have a video for you guys how GCAM works. So you can see here it's a single neurons. The string here is an axon, so you can see how like neurons fire up, and it's in green light.
And as I listed in the materials, we will use green lens. So this is the special camera to see how GCAM works in part of the brain that is deep down. So how are we going to do our experiment? So first we would use neurotoxin to destroy the auditory pathway from your ears to from the ferret ears to the MGN. Then that will cause the double wiring happen. And then we would extract chemicals from this particular places in the ferrets and analyze it to see which is the unknown chemical that might cause the double wire. Then we would extract that chemical and inject to the normal ferret and see if there's a double wiring that happened or attempted to happen. So after the experiments, we would analyze the results. So if the normal ferret brain tried to double wire, the chemical substance is the cause of the double wire in the brain. But if that's not the case, maybe a special electrical signal that is the reason for this double wiring.
If our experiment can confirm that it's really a chemical substance at play, we can come up with some applications. But first, we need to synthesize the same chemical substance in labs or stimulate the brain to secrete that substance by inactivating the auditory pathway. And then we collect that substance for various purposes. Purpose 1, we use that substance to help normal people be smarter more creative or think faster by stimulating the growth of neural connections in their brain. And purpose 2, we can use a substance to help people with sensory loss. Like, for example, we can use a substance to rebuild the damaged neural pathways in their brains to help them regain the sensory losses, and so that we can treat certain types of blindness or deafness. And in case we cannot rebuild the damaged neural pathways, we can use a substance to strengthen other senses to compensate for the loss of one sense. But in the worst case scenario, when our experiment does not confirm our hypothesis, we will conduct other experiments using electrodes to record electrical activity in the area where the double wiring happens and analyze the electrical signal to see if it's really the cause. And it's the end of our presentation. Thank you for listening.
Cảm ơn các bạn Neuroscience, một cái presentation rất là đầy đủ. Thì bây giờ mình xin chuyển sang cái phần Q&A. Vì mình có một cái giới hạn thời gian cho nên mình xin phép được giới hạn mỗi project lại thành 2 câu hỏi. Nếu mà ai mà có những cái câu hỏi nào mà muốn hỏi trực tiếp các bạn thì mình có thể làm được điều đó trong chi web. Mình xin lead mentor hay là các quý vị khán giả đặt câu hỏi.
So this is just I guess, somewhat of a technical. Can you go back to your hypothesis, please? Okay, so your proposing hypothesis is that the brain double wires because of a chemical substance. What kind of testings are you going to use? Statistical testing on your hypothesis.
So this experiment purpose we're gonna propose an experiment to scientists to do. So this is theoretically that's what might happen.
Okay, so you're not thinking about doing the experiment yourself. Am I correct? Well, like you're proposing an idea.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, then I guess go back to slide number 8, please. Okay. So you're saying that at least this is deaf people. The cause of their deafness is that the pathway from the brain, from the ear to the MGN is blocked.
Oh, it's not blocked. And this it's a previous done experiment. So then the pathway from the ear to the MGN was destroyed by neurotoxins.
Okay, so it was destroyed to begin with.
Yeah. But a lot of people has this same disease, like neural pathway.
There are many types of deafness, and this type of deafness is not curable right now. It's called auditory neuropathy, and it's because of the damage in the neural pathway between the ear and the MGN. But other types of deafness only is about the damage to the eardrums, like that can be cured with cochlear implant or something.
Okay, so this is targeting a very specific type of deafness and a specific type of destruction that cannot be cured because of that specific pathway. How do you know that because of that it has to rewire that way and not the other way? I assume there are multiple other parts in the brain.
It is confirmed, scientists have did this experiment I remember it's 2000 by Massachusetts Institute of Technology scientists.
But they don't explain the mechanism behind it. Like they can only confirm that it double wires that way, but there's no explanation of the mechanism.
Okay. Thank you.
Một lần nữa cảm ơn nhóm Neuroscience vì một cái phần thuyết trình rất là đầy đủ và phần trả lời cũng rất là hay. Kính thưa quý vị và các bạn, với sự phát triển của khoa học xã hội ngày nay thì càng có nhiều những con robot thông minh được chế tạo nhằm mục đích đem lại tiện ích cho đời sống con người. Vào trại hè khoa học năm nay, chúng tôi rất tự hào vì các bạn trong team Robot và Internet của vạn vật đã thành công chế tạo một con robot có thể tự vận chuyển. Sau đây xin mời lên sân khấu nhóm 1 và 2 của team Robotics và xin mời các bạn trình bày một nghiên cứu của mình.